Hello, everybody. I'm your IELTS teacher, Jessica Beck. In this podcast episode, this is number 8 of our grammar series, Aubrey and I are going to simplify the rules for conditionals. Guys, if you use conditionals correctly, your grammar score will be a 7 or higher. So listen up, guys, so you can perfect this structure before your next exam. And remember, guys, if you want to find out what you would get on IELTS if you took it today, you can for free. Take our short quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz. Get your free estimated IELTS band score and free resources. Go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz. This is an IELTS Energy Podcast, episode 875, When Grammar Matters 8. Pronunciation is more important than grammar under these conditions.
Welcome to the IELTS Energy Podcast from All Ears English, downloaded more than 18 million times with former IELTS examiner Jessica Beck and Aubrey Carter, the IELTS whiz. If you are stuck with a low score, our insider method will help you get the score you need to unlock your dreams. Get your estimated band score now with our 2-minute quiz at allearsenglish.com/myscore.
Only if you listen to today's episode will you know how intonation can affect your grammar score in IELTS Speaking. Today we share the latest installment in our grammar series to show you how to use adverbs of condition.
Good morning, Aubrey. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Jessica, how are you? How was your weekend?
You know, it was okay. I finally watched that movie Knives Out.
Oh, it's so good. I love that movie.
Oh my God, guys, if you haven't seen that movie, Knives Out, I think it won awards and stuff. It came out probably around Christmas, I feel like.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. So yeah, I rented that online and watched it. And it was incredible.
I took my 13-year-old daughter to it, and I was a little nervous that it wouldn't be entertaining enough for her. And I was so proud of her that she was totally engaged afterwards. She was like, that was a great movie. And I was
cool.
like, yes, we've made it. I can take her to interesting films.
I know, right? Like, I am so happy that I don't have to watch like tiny little kid movies anymore that are like boring and blah, because James and I watch real movies together. Guys, we are going to talk about grammar today. Some very useful insider tips for you guys regarding specific phrases and why intonation matters and rules may not matter. So stay tuned, guys. We are going to talk about that, but just real fast. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but James and I watched the RBG documentary about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I was so proud of him for watching it, and he was super into it. And now I'm just like on the hunt for cool documentaries that we could watch, you know? It's exciting.
Yes, right. He's finally old enough that he's entertained by that. Even like Planet Earth. I was so happy when my kids would start watching like Planet Earth with me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it doesn't have to be a cartoon. I'm so happy.
I know. Okay, guys. So Aubrey and I are relieved that we can watch quality films. You know who else is relieved? The thousands of students who are done with their IELTS exams, right? Guys, literally thousands of students have been through the 3 Keys IELTS system, and they are on to their future dreams. They're done with IELTS, and they are certainly relieved. And guys, we just added another practice test. So if you're in the Personal Coach package or Personal Coach Gold, there is a 4th practice test in there now that is just as hard as the real IELTS exam, guys. So it's the perfect practice for you.
Yes, exactly. And to be able to see all the answers and know why, like how did they get these answers is so valuable. And when you're going through the practice tests you take with IELTS books, there's so many times where you have no idea how they came up with that answer. Our 3 Keys IELTS students can post in the Facebook group and ask and get answers from IELTS experts. So you guys need to get into 3 Keys IELTS so that you can get these practice tests and also so that you can be in our Facebook group. So go to allearsenglish.com/keys.
Okay, awesome. So we're talking about grammar today. And as Aubrey and I were discussing today's topic, using adverb conditional phrases like whether or not and even if, we're talking through these rules. And again, we came to the same conclusion that, guys, you don't need to learn all of these rules that textbooks try and teach you, that they just justify their thousands of pages with, guys. They don't help. In fact, they can ruin fluency if you're too hung up on these rules that, to be honest, don't even matter, that natives don't even follow. So we're going to talk about these rules that are not needed and what you do need to know for IELTS speaking in particular.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking through, there were all these practice questions, and I was really trying to, just not answer it just because as a native, I know what sounds right, and really use their rules to decide which one to use. And it was breaking my brain. And it takes a ton of time too. So you're spending all this time trying to decide which adverb of condition to use that could be spent in so many better ways, right?
Yeah, totally. Guys, you just need to learn in context, like we're going to teach you today, how to use a couple phrases. You don't need to know the intricate grammar rules, okay? It's a waste of time, and it'll break your brain on the test because you're going to be too worried about going through these rules in your head. So, okay, let's get into it, Aubrey. So whether or not is interchangeable with the phrase even if, guys. Now, textbooks aren't going to tell you that. They're going to try and come up with all these rules about one's a surprise and one's not a surprise or whatever. But you know what? Natives use them the same way. And it depends on the intonation, right? So if you use these with a boring monotone intonation, it will sound wrong. Not because of grammar, but because you're not pronouncing the phrase correctly, right? With the expressiveness.
Exactly. The example we came up with to kind of illustrate that was if you say whether or not aliens land, I'm still going to go to the store. That sounds crazy, right? And so the textbooks say, but if you say even if aliens land, I'm still going to go to the store. No, they both sound crazy. You need to use intonation to express the surprise. You could say, whether or not aliens land, I'm still going to the store, because you're clearly talking about a hypothetical just to add interest to what you're saying. And then you can use either one. Even if aliens land, I'm going to the store, or whether or not. They both work.
Exactly, guys. So I think the stress is important here, right? So I'm not going to be whether or not aliens land. I'm going to say whether or not aliens land, I'm still gonna get my IELTS results, right?
Exactly.
And it's fine. Okay, so that would be exactly the same as saying even if aliens land. So I think the stress is really important, right? On the not and the if, because that's when you're really expressing this is not real. This is a hypothetical that I'm saying right now. And then the second clause of the sentence, that's your commitment, right? That's what you're saying is gonna happen regardless of any other context. So what are some ways we could use this on the speaking test? Hello, awesome IELTS students. If you are taking the IELTS exam in the next year, you can start preparing right now for success. Check out our options, guys. Computer delivered version, paper version, academic, general. We have it all at 3 Keys IELTS. Go right now to allearsenglish.com/KEYS.
So on speaking part 1, if the examiner asks you, for example, if you eat breakfast every morning, you could say, whether or not I wake up on time, I still always eat breakfast, right? This is a really interesting phrase to use instead of saying, yes, I eat breakfast every day. It's a very interesting grammar phrase that's going to get you those higher grammar points for the speaking exam.
Yes, exactly. And remember, guys, this grammar series that Aubrey and I have been doing, We are trying to simplify some of the rules you need for IELTS. We're not going to teach you 1,000 rules that don't matter, that you don't need to know in the first place at all, not even for IELTS, right? We are simplifying these things. So if you just take a couple phrases, a couple takeaways from all of these grammar episodes, that's what's going to raise your grammar score, right? So again, this is an interesting grammar structure, right? It is a complex sentence. It has that dependent clause. So it is impressive for sure. So I think like band 6 would be like, sometimes I don't wake up on time. I always eat breakfast. Right? And that's like, just like simple sentences. Okay. So again, like this is a really interesting way to express that. And okay, interchangeable. I could say even if, right? I could say, even if I sleep in, even if my alarm doesn't go off, I still always eat breakfast. So it all comes down to the intonation. So great for speaking part 1, but also for speaking part 3. What's an example sentence for speaking part 3?
Yeah, so if you're asked maybe about eating habits, unhealthy eating habits, you could say, whether or not fast food is readily available, obesity will still be a problem. And you could say even if as well, right? Even if fast food weren't available, obesity would still be a problem. Exactly.
I think we've sort of hit on another important difference here. I feel like even if is used with negatives a lot.
Oh, good point.
Right? So like even if all the fast food restaurants are closed, right? Like saying something is like a negation. Even if my alarm doesn't go off. Okay, so I think that's one little nuance here that's important. I feel like even if is more often followed by a negative than like whether or not. Because whether or not
we're naturally
has that negative.
Changing it to a negative, right? When we use even if, we're switching it automatically.
Yeah, I love it. So they're both negatives, right? But whether or not has that not. So you do have to change the clause slightly to show the same idea with even if. Okay, that's awesome. Guys, definitely come back to the blog so you can see these example sentences. This is going to be really worthwhile for you guys to read these sentences a few times and then try and come up with your own sentences. Put those in the comment section.
Yes, exactly. And I am going to post some sentences that you might get on speaking part 1 and speaking part 3, and definitely comment, how would you answer, right? We want to know, and it's just great practice. And then speak them out loud to your speaking partner or to the mirror. Practice saying these out loud with that intonation. Make sure that you're emphasizing the not, whether or not, or even if. You don't want to say these in a monotone.
Yes, I love it. All right, one last bonus structure here, guys. So we've already taught you that whether or not and even if, those are interchangeable, right? They are part of a complex sentence, meaning that there are 2 clauses. So whether or not and even if, that is followed by a hypothetical, right? That's followed by something that is unreal, that is imaginary. And the second clause is your commitment, is saying that this is going to happen regardless of that first clause. Okay, so that's the context here. Now, what about the phrase only if? How do we use that?
So this one's a little different because what you say right after only if has to be necessary for what comes later on in the sentence, right? So for example, speaking part 3, if they're asking what happens if young people lack good role models, you could say only if children see positive examples, and this is the part that's necessary, will they become thoughtful individuals. So you're saying the second part of your clause relies on the first part happening.
Yeah, so it's more of it's more present, it's more real, right? The first 2 phrases, those are more of the imaginary hypothetical futures, right? Whereas this is like, no, this is necessary. This condition must be fulfilled in order for something else to happen. And I think students use like in order to, I think we understand that as a transition phrase. So this is important to have in your toolbox, right? So you're not repeating transition phrases. So you have some more high-level structures. So I would say speaking part 3 and writing task 2, this is really useful, guys. Anything about cause and effect, problems and solutions, which those come up a lot, right? Those type of topics come up a lot, more in speaking part 3 than writing task 2, but definitely useful for both. So guys, definitely come back to the blog, allearsenglish.com/IELTS. Read through this blog post, guys, do some of those exercises and say these sentences out loud. And if you are certain, guys, that you are going to need a high IELTS score in the next 6 months, right? Check out the 3 Keys IELTS Success System because you do get 6 months of access from the time you join. So guys, check out the 3 different packages, 3 different ways you can study with us. Go to allearsenglish.com/KEYS.
Yes, it was fun chatting with you today, Jessica.
Yes, very fascinating grammar series, Aubrey. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. If you are taking IELTS this year, get your estimated band score with our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/myscore. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.